All right, a little while ago, we did a video about 1099s and 1099 contractors and how to track those payments and then how to accumulate them at the end of the year and report the 1099. So if you went through that process and it was a pain for you, I want to give you guys some tips on how to make it easier this coming year. Okay, so we're at the beginning of the year still. It's not too late to get a better system in place. And it's one of those things that you think, hey, I'm going to do better next year and it's not going to be so hard. And then you get back into the rhythm of life. Nothing really changes. Your process doesn't change. And then you're back at it again the next year and you're going, why didn't I change something? So that is why this video is existing in the world, is to help you hopefully do better this year if last year was, or preparing this stuff this year was really, really awful. Okay, so I want to give you guys a couple tips to make your life easier when it comes to reporting 1099s at the end of the year or at the beginning of the next year. So if we're in 2022 now, we're talking about for next year for 2023, okay? And then this will also help you just streamline your vendor payment processes in the current year. So I want to save you guys time. Time is money, right? So I want to save you time and I want you to have less stress when it comes to paying your vendors and making sure that you're above board with everything and that you are on top of things along the way. I basically want to set you up for success this year with getting your vendors paid and making it smooth and easy as possible. So if this is the type of information that is helpful to you, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel and make sure the notification button is also clicked, because this stuff is timely and I put it out at different times of the year for very specific reasons. So I want you to make sure that you guys have those notifications when they really matter to you. Okay. All right. So there's a couple ways to make this process easier. So there are some software tools that you can use that you can record all of your vendor payments. You can pay them through these systems, and then they will actually issue the 1099s for you. Okay, so you actually don't really have to do anything besides just make the payments through those portals. So a good example of that is Gusto. Gusto is a payroll system, but they actually have contractor payments as a part of payroll. Or if you are super happy with your payroll provider, they have a contractor only tool. So you might be using somebody else for payroll already, but you might say, hey, my contractor situation is nuts. I hate it. I don't like it at all. How can I do better? Gusto has a solution for that. They have like the onboarding for the contractors where they can put in all their tax information, and then you can just issue the payments directly through ACH through their system. You enter in exactly how much everybody is paid, initiate payments, and then it's all taken care of. So and at the end of the year, the contractors, all the payments are accumulated and it'll send out a 1099. There is a cost associated with that. So Gusto is $6 per contractor per month. So that's something to think about. But when you really look at it and you accumulate the total, that's $72 annually per contractor. So if you have been searching for all of your payments and that took you a long time, or maybe you were paying a bookkeeper to help you, or you were paying a CPA to help you gather all this stuff, I guarantee you were probably paying more than $72 per contractor when it really came down to like paying and then actually accumulating the payments for the preparation of the 1099s. So if that's a mess, something like Gusto, and money is not like money is not super tight for you, Gusto might be a really great solution. Okay. Now, you have to weigh the cost benefit of that. Okay. So if you only have like maybe one contractor, maybe that's not hard for you to keep track of. But if you have maybe a lot that you're dealing with and you have a lot onboarding and offboarding all the time, you might look at something that helps you stay organized, and Gusto is a great solution for that. If you paid somebody outside of Gusto, you can include payments in Gusto, like outside of the system. You can add them in so that you can have a correct 1099. You don't have to issue two 1099s at the end of the year. The next thing that you can do to, let's just say Gusto sounds great, but you kind of don't want to have that $6 a month charge. I want to tell you guys about another software solution, and that is Melio. Melio is a way that you can pay vendors and contractors, and they can get paid in cash, and you can potentially even initiate the payment with a credit card, and then they can get paid in cash if that's how you want to do it. And you can pay lots of different vendors and everything like that. And so that this is where you get the cost benefit. Melio allows for free payments. Okay, you can pay somebody ACH, no cost. You can pay somebody and they get the credit card fee taken down on their side if they want to accept credit cards. There's lots of flexibility with Melio. Now you can pay vendors through that and it doesn't cost you anything to pay them. This might be really great if you have 20 contractors, but you only pay them once every year, or maybe you only make quarterly payments. That might make more sense than maybe doing something like Gusto. And then at the end of the year, you can run a report out of Melio and then go and prepare your 1099s in another system. So for example, you can go to something like track1099.com and then just go and initiate and put in all of your vendors and then just put in how much you paid them during the year from your Melio report, and then that will issue 1099s. Okay, so there's ways that you can get this stuff done. I mean, you can always go to literally like Office Max or Office Depot and buy 1099 forms, but I tell you what, that will waste a lot of time, and all of these other software providers are actually like a more cost-effective way once you start factoring in the time of a CPA to go and do that for you. Okay, so we're really trying to balance ease of use and cost here. So Gusto is a great solution. Melio is also a really great solution, especially if you're looking for that, not having to pay per contractor and you want those payments to be easier and you're willing to do a little bit of work on the back end when it comes to January of running the reports and getting it done. Okay. So the other thing that you can use is you can use like a bill pay system in QuickBooks. So QuickBooks or Xero or something like that. I really like QuickBooks Online, as you guys know, but QuickBooks Online has that ability in each vendor profile to check the box to say track payments for 1099. And then at the end of the year, you can just do a quick review of your 1099 payments, and they will actually weed out things that have already been paid with a credit card, things that are under $600, and then it will help you kind of logic who needs a 1099. Okay. And then you can actually do it through the system as well. You do want to be that on the timely side of that because you don't want to wait until the last minute with QuickBooks Online. They want you to get it done earlier. Okay. So QuickBooks, I think, is a really great idea. So if you have bills that come in, you can keep track of the bills in the system, attach them to the vendor, make sure that your vendor profile is set up, and then it makes it very easy to just run a 1099 report. Okay. The last tip I want to give you guys is you also have the ability to just pay your contractors with credit cards. So if you're in a situation where you can pay your vendors with credit cards and always keep them on credit card payments, then that will help you stay away from having to issue 1099s, okay? I actually do recommend people leveraging credit cards as much as they can, as long as they have the cash to cover it and they're not paying finance charges and interest charges on misusing a credit card. So if you have the ability and you don't have a lot of contractors that you work with and they are willing to accept a credit card, try to pay them on a credit card, because then you do not have to issue a 1099 for them. You can just, they are covered with that 1099K. All right. So those are my tips to make your life a little easier next year. The other thing I would definitely say is every time you start working with a vendor, you need to request their W-9. Do it at the beginning when you're contracting with them, when you're initially like setting up the agreement. That's the perfect time to say, hey, I need your W-9. Please go ahead and send that to me when you have a chance. And that should be part of your vendor setup process. So when you're first setting somebody up before you pay them, you could even have an internal guideline or an internal procedure that says we don't pay anyone until we have their EIN. And it's a very standard practice. It doesn't happen that much in small business, but it should. It's very, very standard in like much larger organizations. They say, sorry, you're not set up in our system because we don't have your tax information. We can't pay you. And so you as a small business owner actually have that same power. You can say, hey, I can't pay you until I have your 1099. Until I have your W-9. And then you can kind of hold that as your procedure, which is actually best practice. And it helps you have some power over kind of your accounts payable process too. All right. So hopefully all those tips are super helpful, trying to help you guys as best as I can. All right, so happy contractor paying. And I hope that you guys are able to take some of these tips and leverage them. Remember, I've got links to all those software providers that I mentioned today. They're all in the description box below. I've used all of them. So remember, you guys, when I talk about a software, it's because I actually like it. If I haven't used it before, I try to tell you I haven't used it. I don't know. Here's an option. I have used Track 1099 for reporting 1099s before. There's lots of online 1099 services, but that's the only one that I've used like that. I've used the Quickbooks 1099 reporting and then Gusto for sure. So, all right, you guys. Well, that's it. All right. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.